Viking, there's a 3-cylinder Viking. These are race sleds. This purple one won the national championship 2 years ago. The national NS, the Snowmobile Club of America, they had I think about 500 or 600 sleds, and this got first place. And that's at the museum. This was a race sled that I found was still in the crate. You know, it's a 1971 650. And there's odd things. There was Northways and Snow Twisters. Those were probably, in 1976, before Mercury's looked like locomotives. They were black, ugly things. In 76, they come out and beat everybody racing, and then they went under. They just stopped building. And for 2 or 3, 4 years, they ran. Nobody could touch those. Today, they still compete. And that's another race sled. This sled, you asked if I restored one. This is one that I did restore. It's a 73 650 EXT. And do I want to restore any more of them? No. It took me about, I thought I had all the parts and I had somebody else do the work. But just chasing the parts, and you're much better off to find one done. I mean, way better. And this is a Snow Pro. With the engine sticking out, that went to a factory. They had one for, if you were a race driver, you could have one, but the engine was covered in that year. But that's a 76 Snow Pro, and then only a factory team racer could get one of those. This sled here had cable steering. I remember I had one when I was a kid, and you use it a couple times, it just had cable, it would get loose. But they only built 50 of those. And that's an Alouette racer. There's a TX, and they wanted to get into the 600 class, and they put a fan-cool engine. It doesn't look right in there, and they only built about 30 of those, and that's in the museum. Everything here I'm showing you is in the museum. There's a 3-cylinder race sled. There's an 800, another race sled. There's a kid's Moto Ski Cadet. This one's electric start. I guess it was for kids, but I think it was advertised for adults too. Well, there's the early Mercury I was telling you. They actually, this grill was the actual part they sent to cure the heating problem. And to work on this thing, you had to take the skis off and take this whole hood off. So the factory said, cut the sled in half and just put a couple of clamps, and that was their fix. I mean, that's just how they did things. There's that air sled that I told you that has a Wycoming 4-cylinder airplane engine on it. Elite Auto Ski. This sled right here was found in the crate, never had gas in it. Auto Ski is kind of like one of my favorite sleds. That was the Mark 1, the race version. And there's that 3-cylinder that I've been chasing. And there's some other sleds. If there's any that you, this here was a kit you could buy from Yamaha. You took the regular GPX and you bought this hood and the racing engine, and you went racing with it. And that was one of the Snow Pro sleds that I got. Actually, it was this one here, 78. That was the best sled at the Hall of Fame out in. They actually have a Hall of Fame for snowmobiling out west. This sled here, this Grand Prix, was the most expensive sled in '71. It kind of has airplane type handlebars, all aluminum, electric start, cigarette lighter. I've been tempted to drive that. This was in '78 Polaris. This is the only year that Polaris, that was a race sled, Snow Pro. This is just a picture of the museum. This a 70 TNT, and then in '71 Artie Cat had the free ears. Starcraft, I mean, here's a perfect example. All this is an Alouette with a yellow hood. And Rupp built a lot of sleds. And this here, this is one that is in Canada, and I'm trying, it's the next year to the one that I chased all my life. And I say coming soon because I'm going to get that sled. So the guy's waiting for his passport, and I'm supposed to do a trade. And this is the sled I drive today, so it's a little bit different. It's a Bearcat. It's It's got a 20-inch track, 156 inches long. You can add a seat to it, so you can sit 3 or 2 of me. And so there's a big difference from this. I snuck this in because I have another passion. That's the summer thing. So pretty much is what I have to say. You guys have any questions?
You familiar at all, Paul, with, this, not really snowmobile, but this was brought to my attention a few weeks ago, a 1929 Fordson tractor. And it made me think of what they used to do with the Model T with the skis on. And this was a tractor that was, they put these tubes, took the tires off and had these round tubes with a spiral keel, I guess you could, on each tube. And it was driven off the PTO. I mean,
to go in the snow, the big rollers?
Yeah. And I saw that, I always wondered why that would never...
They used to roll the snow.
Yeah, they used to just spin and just like an auger.
Oh, the auger to go forward with. Oh,
yeah, and I always wondered why that didn't catch on. I mean, it looked like such a neat idea.
It wasn't, it didn't steer good.
No.
Because you'd have to have one way to stop the auger. And when this one kept going, this one would just sit there. We had pictures about it.
Yeah.
They used an auger. It's unbelievable the things that people try.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I just touched, you know, a little bit.
Yeah.
I could go on here because it's so involved, but I feel personally that Elizen was responsible for the first snowmobile that you can get on it and go through, because you remember there was no trails whatsoever, and his buddies, you know, skied and snowshoed, and he wanted a snowmobile that could go through those trails, and there was nothing available. And from 1924 till 1960, till Skidoo did his thing, you know, the rest of the stuff was just big, heavy iron, and most of those big units were sold to, like those big double tracks I showed you, were sold to ski areas, to groom. They were sold to utility companies. So those companies were not hitting the sport market. You know, so not until the mid-60s that after Skidoo did that, that it became a real organized sport, you know.
Good presentation.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate this presentation. And it isn't just in snowmobiling that historians have a problem with getting all the facts straight. It's all over, no matter what you try to do. So we really thank you. We do have refreshments out in the hallway, and we will have another program on the 4th Tuesday of March concerning the architectural history of the Lewiston Auburn area. Thank you very much.